So today's going to be a hell of a mission. I've got to get from here in Obergurgl, Austria to MUGELLO circuit in Italy. I won't do it in one day. I'll fly today back to the UK, go down to Swindon to pick the truck up, go to Dover, and then get over the water tomorrow and then off to MUGELLO. So it's going to be a 3-day trip. Come with me from here, Austria, all the way to MUGELLO.
So yeah, welcome back to the channel. It's not Riva orientated because we're actually away on a family holiday, but I've been asked while I'm out here if I'll sort of rush back and get in a race truck and drive it down to MUGELLO in Italy. So I've agreed to it against everything that I normally do when I'm on holiday. I've picked up the phone and I've agreed. So we're going to make our way back from here to Manchester and then down to Swindon to pick up the race truck and then head to the boat.
So first thing I've got to do is check out my room, leave the hotel here in Obergurgl, get a minibus to Innsbruck, and then fly from Innsbruck to Manchester.
So this will be the basic route that I've got to take from Innsbruck in Austria all the way to Manchester. It's, 1,200 kilometres, which roughly is 754 mile as the crow flies. And then I've got to make my way then back to Swindon down south in the UK. So it's going to be a bit of a trek, but it's a mission that I've taken on and I'm prepared to take on because I like a challenge. So this is the first part, load the bags up, get on the bus and make our way to the airport. Once back in the UK, I will pop home quickly before heading down to Swindon.
So that's it, we're on the bus, heading to Innsbruck Airport, which we'll get a flight then down to the UK.
As we woke up this morning and I'd already taken the job on, I couldn't believe how much snow we'd had in Obergurgl. I was a bit worried actually because I thought, if the bus can't get to the hotel, I won't be able to make it to the airport and therefore the whole mission would be foiled before we'd even sat out. So I was worried, but thankfully the snow plows had been out and cleared the road, so it wasn't too bad.
On the airport bus now, heading to the plane.
So as you can see, we've safely arrived at Innsbruck Airport. It's only a small little airport in Austria, but it's nice because you don't really have sort of the hustle and bustle of a main terminal building, so you can sort of check in, get on your plane and get gone. However, it did seem a little bit busier this morning. I don't know why. I think the snow had sort of delayed a few flights, etc. But there's our trusty steed to fly home on, the trusty Jet 2, as you can see, making you stand in the rain. Getting nice and wet before you get on your flight, just what you want. But yeah, this will see us back to Manchester. So being British, when we actually got next to the aeroplane, we tried staying on the bus, but actually the bus driver kicked us off and made us stand in the rain with everybody else. So that was a bit unfortunate.
On board the plane now, hour and a half to get back to Manchester, and then in the car down to Swindon.
The flight home is pretty direct, goes straight over the Alps and then towards London as you'd expect, so it only takes about an hour and 45 to get home.
So just got off the plane, it's now 3 o'clock here in the UK, taking a bit of time to get through baggage, as it always does at Manchester. To the car now, back home and then down to Swindon, so we're getting there, we've covered a few miles already. So back in the house now, having just got back from Austria, gonna pack a quick bag, get my sleeping bag ready, and then get in the car and head down to Swindon. Once I get to Swindon, I'm gonna get in the truck and then go to Dover, where I shall do customs, and once customs cleared I'll get over the water and then head through France. So long way to go yet, but that's the first part done, X amount of miles down, quite a way to go. So that's it, I've had a super quick shower, packed my bag and now down to Swindon to go and get the truck. Onwards we go.
So by the time I left the house it was about 5:30. I actually got half an hour up the road from the house and realised I haven't got my truck sat nav. So I had to go back. So by the time I left the house, it was actually 6 p.m. And then I got down to Swindon about 9 p.m, which wasn't ideal.
So we're here at Swindon now, just sorted the lorry out, done the walk around checks and all that business, ready now to head to the boat at Dover. Do all the paperwork tonight, I'll get my head down, get some good rest, and then cross over the water tomorrow, through France towards Lyon, probably get my head down just before the Mont Blanc tunnel, and then through the Mont Blanc tunnel on Tuesday to MUGELLO. But yeah, we're here with the truck, so I've got to do 130 mile to Dover now, so let's get it done.
So as you can see, this truck's a rigid truck. I normally drive articulated ones as part of my work, but on this occasion I was asked to drive a rigid, so nice and different. The thing is with these, are quite nippy, so we should make good time. So this truck cab will actually double up as my hotel for the next 2 nights. So I've got my sleeping bag, and as you can see, I've got my trusty truck sat nav now. I've actually gone back for it, and as you can see there, we're due to get down to Calais for 12:16. So a good run, but thankfully the roads were quiet. So I've just arrived at Dover at Motis, which is where I'll do my customs. Got to fill all my customs paperwork out now, go into the office, get that signed, get custom cleared, so that after I've had 9 hours off, I can get on the boat in the morning and head into France. So the next part's the paperwork. Made good time really. It's 12:15 now, so we're just into Monday morning. But yeah, like I said, 9 hours off and then we'll hit the road again. Unfortunately, taco rules mean that you've got to have your break, but then again, it's there to look after the driver because it does get tiring. It gets very tiring, but we've made good time, and it means that tomorrow we can have a full day of driving, which will leave us a little bit to do Tuesday. So we'll be at MUGELLO circuit for Tuesday afternoon. That's the plan. But everything's going okay so far. So this is just an example of customs paperwork. I don't want to go through it too much and I don't want to give too much detail away, but basically you've got your carnet there and you have to fill all this out and give it into the office. Pretty standard stuff really. If you've got a load that's going into the EU, this is the sort of thing that you'll have. Like I said, you fill that out to basically state what you're doing, where you're going and what you're taking, because you're exporting it from the UK and you're importing it into the EU, and then when you come back you're re-exporting and re-importing into the UK. So yeah, you've just got to do this, and it's just a chain basically. So you open the chain here in the UK and you sort of continue the chain if you like in France, and then when you come back you start to close the chain. So you'll close it in France and then you literally finish the chain when you get back to the UK. So it's just a loop basically that you've got to open and complete. If you went to France for instance and you didn't get custom clearance in the UK, you'd actually have to go back to the UK to get that custom clearance, and yes, they will send you back. You will have to get back on the boat or the ferry or the train, go back across, get custom clearance and then come back into France. They do that. So yeah, it's quite important that you get your customs right, so you need to be on it. So I'm going to focus now and I'm going to make sure I get it right. So good morning, it's 9 o'clock here in the UK. I've just woken up, I've had 9 off, so get up now, go to the bathroom, get sorted, pay the parking and head to the boat. Rough night last night because I didn't know this prior to signing up to the job, but the truck that I'm in's got no night heater. Night heat is basically run on diesel, drawn from the diesel tank, and the little heaters that tick over and just produce a bit of heat to keep the cab warm. But this truck hasn't got one. I didn't know that, but I know that now. So you can imagine being inside a tin box by the sea in the winter in the UK, how cold it gets. It was absolutely freezing last night. I've got a sleeping bag, but the sleeping bag didn't really do much. It did enough, but it didn't really do enough to keep me warm. So yeah, when you're cold you keep waking up. So kept waking up last night, so a bit of a rough night's sleep. Shoulders are killing. I had to use my bag as a pillow because I haven't got a pillow because I didn't bring one. So yeah, after a 21-hour day, I know I've had a rough night's sleep, so not great. But we move, get up, get sorted, get on this boat and get into France. So that's parking paid. Let's head to the boat. Now we've got our ticket to actually get out of here, I can head to the boat. Now I don't know which boat I'm going to get on. You normally get to the boats and then they sort of select the one that's not full that's next. So you just get on the next boat and off you go. Got to go to customs in France to get my paperwork signed. That's the next part of this mission. Here she is in all her glory. Only a rigid this time, class 2, but near enough and it'll get us there. So once you've gone through the ticket booth for your ferry operator, which for us was P&O, they put you on the next boat because they work with Irish Ferries, like I said. And I am on an Irish Ferries boat, the 10 o'clock boat, which I'm really happy about because I didn't think I'd make it. I thought there'd be a queue, and I thought with getting up at sort of 9:20, 9:30, by the time I've got round to the port, there's no way I'll get on like the 10:15 boat. But actually, as I got there was no queue, and they sent me straight down aisle 103, I think, straight onto the boat, so there was no queuing at all. So in a way, I've made up time there, because normally you'd queue for a couple of hours at Dover, but no, straight on. So in my mind, I'd made up a couple of hours, so I was quite chuffed with that. So that's me on the boat. Time to go and get some food now and have a chill whilst we cross the water, and then we're into France.
This is the food on the boats. My daddy tells me it's not as good as mummy's.
So we're on the boat. Time for a bit of breakfast now, and then do some more. But so far it's going alright. It's going to plan. Weather's okay. A little bit overcast, but I think it'll be a smooth crossing. Should get into France for 12:15 local time.
It turns out these hash browns like eating cardboard. And Daddy's hot chocolate was cold. Safe to say the breakfast isn't recommended.
And that's it from France. Not really overwhelming, is it? It's a bit of a grey day, but nice with the sunshine.
This is probably a good time to explain why we take the boat over the train. A lot of race trucks, especially race liners for race cars, are too low or too high to go on the train, so a lot of the time we have to go on the boat. The boat's also a little bit cheaper for freight movement, so yeah, we get on the boat a lot and I'm used to doing it. But when I was with Mercedes Formula 1, we'd use the boat a lot as well, so it's just better the devil you know. I suppose with this rigid I could have gone on the train, but we had an account with the boat, so the boat it was. Just about to get off the boat at this point, just have a quick look around, make sure everything's okay, and off we go.
So we've exported the goods from the UK and we're importing it into France. All these boys are doing import papers, so off we go to the customs office.
It's not the easiest to find, this customs office, but if you follow the orange lines off the boat and then follow the walkway once you get out of the cab of the race truck there, you'll find that the customs office in France, Dover, is over in this corner. Douane Français, French customs, and it's that little office there that we're going into.
That's it, French customs cleared. Like I said, I've exported from the UK and I've imported into France. Excuse the wind, these microphones and inputs aren't really good. But now for the truck driving part. Drive to Reims, head out towards Dijon and try to get to Lyon, but I might run out of time to get to Lyon tonight, but we'll try my best. And as you can hear, it's quite windy here at the port, so now for the truck driving part on the road. Here she is, the trusty DAF. I'll have a quick look round because obviously I've been into customs and I don't know if anyone's tampered with it. Not that I'm worried about illegals now I'm over the water, but just have a quick look round, make sure everything's okay, and get back on the road. I'm going to crunch some miles now. So from the port of Calais, it's got me at 355 miles to Dijon. So let's get a move on.
So I'm going to try my absolute best here to not make it too boring or long-winded, but this is the road now, down towards Reims and then out towards Dijon. As you can see, slightly overcast, but look at the roads, absolutely dead in terms of traffic.
So we're travelling through France, heading towards Reims. What are we now? 100 miles away from Reims. It's gone sunny, sunglasses are on, and yeah, we're travelling well. It's nice and quiet over this side of the water. That's why I like driving in France and Italy. It's so much quieter than driving in the UK. You can really crunch the miles out. But yeah, it's also really nice when you get really nice weather, isn't it? Sunshine. Because in the UK it's probably really grey still now. It's beautiful sunshine over here. So yeah, keep pushing on, and then in 2 hours' time I'm going to have a break. I'll have a 45-minute break every 4.5 hours of driving, so I'll have a 45-minute break and then I'll do another 4.5 hours drive, and then that'll be me done for today. Because 2 4.5 hour drives equate to 9 hours. That's your standard driving time, 9 hours a day, but you can do 2 10-hour drives a week. Given the fact I'm not doing much driving the rest of this week, I'll probably burn both of them 2 10s. I'll burn one today and I'll burn one tomorrow getting there, but then again it shouldn't take 10 hours to get there tomorrow if I use a 10 today, so it's up to me how I do it. I'm just trying to think about it now and just think how I want to do it. I could stay within 9s really and do a 9 today and 9 tomorrow, but if I do a 10-hour drive today, I won't have as much to do tomorrow. I'll only have like 7 or 8 hours, so don't know, we'll see how it goes, see how traffic is. If it's quiet, then I might do the 10 today, and then it'll just give me a lot less to do tomorrow. Nice steady run into MUGELLO circuit, have a look around, stay there the night, and then I'm flying back to Heathrow to Swindon, which is where the truck's from, to get my car to drive back home. So yeah, a lot going on. And then Thursday, Friday, so it's now Monday, Tuesday driving, Wednesday fly home, Thursday and Friday getting ready for Brands Hatch touring car testing on Friday, so that'll be another video getting the race truck ready there to go down to Brands Hatch on Friday for testing. So yeah, a lot going on, busy. So I've just had a holiday, but I feel like I need another one already. Anyway, come with me and we'll just get this last bit done.
It's so nice to be driving in the sun again with no clouds above. It's been such a long winter, and as you can see here, the beautiful wind farms creating that free energy, if you like, as opposed to burning coal. So they're a blot on the landscape, aren't they, these things, but in a way they're quite efficient. So no smoke coming out of these bad boys.
So that's it, first 4.5 hours done. On my break now, just having a quick walk around. I'm up one of these large Air de whatever, it's actually Air de Chermont, and these are just big large parking areas, open air parking areas with no shops or anything. So unfortunately the way that my 4.5 hours drive time fell, it's dumped me here, whereas if it had dumped me half an hour up the road, I'd have had a McDonald's. But you've got to keep pushing. I learned that with Formula One, that you can't stop where you want to stop. You've just got to keep going, because if I'd have stopped up the road and not used all of my 4.5 hours drive time and only used 4 hours, I'd have only had 9.5 hours in the bank instead of 10 tonight. So you've just got to keep pushing, unfortunately. But yeah, I've done 238 miles since Calais, so we're 238 miles further down the road on a 4.5 hour drive, so that's really good going. Hopefully I'll get another 200 and something out after I've had my break, which will get me to the best part of 500 miles for the day, which is really good. So hopefully that should put me right near Lyon and put me in good stead for tomorrow. But that's about it for now, really. The truck, where's the truck? The truck is that one there, that box truck, that rigid. It's quite nice travelling in a rigid, actually. I didn't think I'd like it, because obviously I normally drive Arctics, but the rigid's got its pros. It gets up the hills okay, and it's quite nippy, actually. So yeah, I'm not hating rigid life, so to speak, but I miss being higher up in a big truck. So yeah, join me again later and we'll see how far we can get.
You get to see some beautiful scenery on these roads. That's why I've tried to capture as much as I can, but these road sections will be short and sweet, just to stop it getting too boring for the viewers. What I will say is that as we get further and down the road and closer towards the Mont Blanc and the Alps, you get some stunning scenery, so it's worth sticking around and having a look at that, even if this part isn't as spectacular. But anyway, there's no high-rise building blocks or anything like that to look at, is there? It's just all rolling fields, look. So yeah, it's a pleasure to drive out in France and Spain. Beautiful countries to drive through. As is often the case with truck driving, you'll start when it's dark, you'll drive through the light, and then you'll go back into the dark because the drives are that long. So here we are back into the night, but it's not long until I stop for the evening.
So I've just pulled up. It's 11 PM here in France. I've covered 753 kilometres since Calais. Obviously I just drove from Motis Customs to the boat, but we won't count that. So actually from the French side down to where I've got to now, which is an hour and a half from the Mont Blanc tunnel, I've covered 753 kilometres, which you'd never do in a 9-hour drive in the UK. So pretty impressive. Hour and a half from Mont Blanc. It's -1 here. It's got colder as we've got close to the Alps. So it'll be a nice cold night again in the truck tonight. But tired now, going to get 9 off
and I'll start again. So 11 o'clock, 9 off will put me at 8 o'clock in the morning. So at 8 o'clock in the morning we can get going. An hour and a half to the tunnel, and then we'll be through the tunnel and head towards Milan. So yeah, a lot of ground covered, but that's what you get when you've got no traffic and no crashes. Because you've got less traffic, you obviously have less accidents. So it is nice driving over here. You can get a lot of miles covered, and we'll be in Mugello tomorrow around about 5 p.m. I think, between 5 and 6 p.m. So we'll be there in time for dinner with the team. So I'm up and awake. Just turn this down touch. Another super cold last night. It got down to -3, which when you've got no night heater, that is tough, because it got to the point where I could see my breath. But I'm here, I'm alive. I've had 9 off, and now I'm going to push towards the Mont Blanc tunnel, so you'll see a bit of footage of that. You'll see where, as trucks, we have to go and get a ticket before we go up to the top of the zigzag and get to the tunnel. So you have to get a ticket at the bottom, then you have to present the ticket at the top, then you can go through the tunnel. If you don't get that ticket in the truck, you get sent all the way back down the mountain to go and get your ticket. So yeah, we've got to get the ticket to go through the tunnel, and then we'll drop down the other side. And as you drop down the other side of the Mont Blanc tunnel, there's a lovely little runway / airport strip at the bottom of the hill, but you'll see all that as we go. But yeah, push on now to Milan, and then the circuit should get there 5-6 o'clock. But yeah, not the best night's sleep, but I feel ready, feel pumped, because I'm going to get there today. So I'm living on that at the minute. So this is the sort of lay-by area / service area that you pull into for the bottom of the Mont Blanc tunnel for the ticket booth. I'd sort of familiarised myself with this as I went, because I'd actually forgotten exactly where it was in terms of location, but I found it. And as you can see here, you sort of have to drive around in lane to get to where you need to be. And once you go through this section here, you work your way round to a parking area where you can walk to the booth. To be perfectly honest, this is all in place for when it's really busy, but with it being ever so quiet, it was quite easy to navigate, and there was no queues, so I was quite happy with that. So as you can see, I've come around to the right hand side here, and there's a number of parking spaces. So just drop it into one of these, and I jump out and I walk up to the booth to go find out what's going on. So I'm here at the bottom of the Mont Blanc. As you can see, beautiful scenery now. I'm just going to the booth at the bottom of the Mont Blanc to find out about payment. I don't want to go any further. It looks like you can go to here and pay in the truck, but I didn't want to do that and end up getting in trouble, so I've decided to park the truck and walk. So I'll find out what the crack is with payment now. Pay at the bottom, go up to the top, present your ticket, go through the tunnel. Okay, so even though I've been through the tunnel before, and I should know, but I've just learnt off a lovely French gentleman that you don't have to walk to the booth. You can drive straight up to it, and there's like a window like at McDonald's to pay for your ticket. So I didn't have to get out, but I'd rather do it this way than get there and him say, oh, you should have stopped and then walked to the window, because they can send you all the way around the road network to get back to where you were. So I've done it the best way. Quick walk, doesn't hurt, does it? Stretch the legs. So we'll pay at the window and we'll get up there. So I've learned something quite vital there. At the bottom of the tunnel, at the tunnel control, you just get a ticket, and then once you've got your ticket, you take that to the top, and then you pay for your tunnel passage with your ticket. So there's no payment down the bottom. You just get a ticket, take this to the top, present it, and then through you go. So there you go, learning all the time. And this is it, the entrance to the Mont Blanc tunnel. Always find it a bit, what's the word, exciting, but quite sad going into the Mont Blanc tunnel, because I don't know if any of you viewers will remember the fire that took place. Yeah, on the 24th of March 1999, a transport truck drove through the tunnel and stopped halfway through because it caught fire. And by stopping, he caused a backlog of traffic, and the traffic couldn't really go anywhere because it was all nose to tail. And there was a lot of fatalities due to the fire and the cargo that was on board. I believe it was some sort of margarine which got really hot and burnt quite intensively. And like I said, there was a lot of lives lost in that fire. There's actually a documentary on YouTube for the Mont Blanc tunnel fire, and it's well worth a watch because it's very insightful, and it keeps me on my toes when I'm driving through any tunnel now as to distances between the vehicle in front, what's around me, and how I'd get out of that situation if it ever happened to me. So yeah, very sombre, but here we are going through it nevertheless, and we're just about to come out the other side. The tunnel being 7.3 mile long, it feels like it goes on forever, but as you can see here, we're about to poke our heads out the tunnel on the Italian side, and it's a good link for the two countries. Really, it saves you going the long way round. So start in France one side and then finish in Italy the other. As you can see, the trucks on the right hand side are pulling over to change their tacos over, because you have to change country from the country that you've been driving into the country that you're going into. So you change from France at that point to Italy, and then we're about to make our way down the mountain towards the little airport / runway at the bottom. But yeah, this is it. Welcome to Italy. And as I spoke of the little runway down at the bottom of the mountain, at the bottom of the Mont Blanc tunnel, the Italian side, look how lucky we were. There's a little plane here taking off absolutely adjacent to me, and he's actually towing a glider. So there's the glider behind, and I couldn't believe how lucky I was. I was like, that's unbelievable. That's really fortunate to see those taking off right at the same time I was driving along. So yeah, that's the little runway that runs next to the carriageway.
Well, it seems your girl's burnt through quite a bit of diesel. Still going, and it's at 500 euros now. 272 litres and it's still not full.
So once you've gone through the Mont Blanc, that's not the end of the tunnels. There's a multitude of tunnels on the Italian side, all the way through the Alps, which I suppose are just navigating the terrain and ensuring that the carriageway can continue essentially without using smaller roads. So yeah, they punch a lot of holes through the mountains to sort of get the carriageway to continue, but it seems like the tunnels are never ending. As soon as you exit one, you're straight into another one, which can play havoc with the eyes really, because you're like light day, but we keep going, and here we're pushing on towards Turin and Milan. So at this point, we're not far from MUGELLO, and as you can see, we've got an old Land Rover Range Rover in front of us, an old classic Vogue. My dad used to have one of these, and I actually called him and I said, "You won't believe what's in front of me in Italy. I've travelled all this way and I've got an old Range Rover Classic in front of me." And Dad used to have one of these, used to tow his burger trailer with it. So yeah, we had a good chinwag and a good catch up about his old Range Rover. And my dad's was burgundy in colour, whereas this one in front of us is an off-white. But yeah, great to see it. I think it was a diesel because it was smoking every now and again. Probably got a 200 or 300 TDI in it, but yeah, good to see in the sunshine. But we're not far from the Mugello circuit now. A nice run in, and as you can see, it's early evening, 5 o'clock, sun setting, and it's been a very, very pleasant drive. So thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, it hasn't been Riva. It hasn't been very associated to Riva, but this is what I do for a living. Self-employed truck driver for motorsport teams. So if there's a truck that needs driving, I jump on it and it can take me anywhere within Europe. Yeah, that's it. So we're at Mugello Circuit. This is just one of the Ferrari trucks that was here, Ferrari Customer Racing. Sorry I didn't take a little bit more video of the circuit while I was there, but I think I was so drained, I just kind of forgot, and I was just like focusing on completing the job and getting home. So that's it, a 2.5 day drive all the way from the UK, well, actually from Austria back to the UK, and then the UK all the way down to Italy and Mugello. I hope you enjoyed just having a ride with me and seeing what it's all about. These are all the race trucks that are parked up. Like I said, the majority of them are Arctics, but yeah, until the next one.